Level 1, the applicant. You're not flying anything yet. You're sitting in front of a screen, filling out forms that look no different from any other job application. Name, education, work history, medical disclosures. But this process is not casual. To even qualify for pilot training, you need to enter the military as an officer. That means going through programs like ROTC, a service academy, or officer training school. Your academic performance matters. Your physical condition matters. Your background matters. Everything is evaluated. The standards are strict and non-negotiable. Vision requirements, aptitude tests, and psychological screenings are used to determine whether you can even enter the pipeline. The stakes here are quiet, but absolute. You don't get partial approval. You either meet the standard or you don't enter the system at all. There's no salary tied to flying yet. If you're in ROTC, you might receive a stipend. Otherwise, you're investing time and effort with no guarantee of return. Advancement from this level depends entirely on selection, and most people don't pass it. Level 2, student pilot. You've been accepted. Now the system starts shaping you. Your days are structured around training, ground school, simulators, flight instruction, emergency procedures. Everything is standardized, every action is measured. You're not learning how to fly freely, you're learning how to operate within constraints, checklists, protocols, repetition. Your instructors are not there to encourage you, they're there to evaluate you. Mistakes are expected, but they are documented, analyzed, and corrected quickly. Progress is tracked continuously, and any pattern of inconsistency can remove you from the program. At this level, performance is not judged on isolated moments, but on reliability over time. Pay begins here as an officer in training, typically between $3,500 and $5,000 per month, depending on rank and branch. It's stable, but it reflects your status. You are still being assessed. The danger is limited compared to operational flying, but it exists. Training accidents occur, particularly during early solo flights where there is no instructor to intervene. Progression depends on consistency. You don't need to be exceptional. You need to be controlled, disciplined, and repeatable. Because the system is not looking for the most talented pilot. It's looking for the one who can perform under pressure without deviation. Level 3, wing pilot, junior officer. You earn your wings. On paper, this is the moment everything changes. You're no longer a trainee. You're officially a military pilot. But in reality, this is where the system becomes stricter. You're assigned to a specific aircraft platform, fighter, transport, reconnaissance, or rotary wing. That assignment shapes everything. Your schedule, your missions, your risks, and even your long-term career trajectory. Your daily responsibilities expand immediately. You attend mission briefings, study flight plans, review weather conditions, and learn the specific systems of your aircraft in detail. Flying is only one part of the job. Most of your time is spent preparing for it. You operate within a chain of command. Every flight is part of a larger structure, coordinated with ground units, intelligence, and command directives. Pay increases at this level. As a commissioned officer with flight status, you typically earn between $70,000 and $100,000 per year, including flight pay and allowances. The risks become real. You're no longer in controlled training environments. You're flying in complex conditions, night operations, poor weather, unfamiliar terrain, or contested airspace, depending on your assignment. At this level, mistakes are no longer learning opportunities. They have operational consequences. Advancement depends on accumulating flight hours, demonstrating mission reliability, and maintaining consistent performance evaluations. You are no longer being trained to fly, you are expected to contribute. Level 4, flight. At this level, your role changes from individual execution to coordinated leadership. You are now responsible for leading multiple aircraft during missions. That means planning flight paths, coordinating communication, and making decisions in real time that affect more than just your own aircraft. You're the one giving instructions over the radio. Other pilots rely on your judgment. Daily responsibilities include mission planning, briefing your team, and ensuring that every pilot understands their role before takeoff. Once airborne, you manage formation integrity, timing, and responses to unexpected changes. Your authority increases, but so does the pressure. Pay typically ranges from $90,000 to $120,000 per year, depending on rank, years of service, and additional incentives. The danger at this level expands beyond personal risk. You are responsible for the safety and effectiveness of multiple aircraft. A miscalculation or delayed decision can impact everyone under your command. Promotion from this level requires more than technical skill. It requires trust. Your superiors need to believe that you can make decisions under pressure without losing control of the situation. Level 5, Instructor Pilot. You've demonstrated that you can operate effectively. Now you are expected to pass that knowledge on. As an instructor pilot, your primary responsibility is training new pilots or less experienced ones. You may return to a training unit or remain within an operational squadron while mentoring others. Your daily routine includes evaluating flight performance, conducting debriefings, and correcting errors before they become patterns. You are no longer focused only on your own performance. You are responsible for someone else's development. Pay at this level generally falls between $100,000 and $130,000 per year, depending on rank and service time. The risks remain present, but they take a different form. Training environments are unpredictable. New pilots make mistakes. Your role is to anticipate and correct those mistakes quickly enough to prevent escalation. This requires constant attention. Advancement depends on your ability to teach effectively, maintain operational standards, and contribute to the overall readiness of your unit. This is where the system begins to evaluate you not just as a pilot, but as a leader. Level 6, Aircraft Commander/Mission Commander. At this level, you are responsible for entire missions, not just your aircraft, not just your team, the operation itself. You plan and execute missions in coordination with multiple units. This includes intelligence briefings, coordination with ground forces, and adapting to changing conditions in real time. Your daily responsibilities are divided between preparation and execution. Before the mission, you analyze data, assess risks, and assign roles. During the mission, you make decisions that affect the outcome of the entire operation. Pay typically ranges from $110,000 to $150,000 per year. The risks at this level are at their highest. You are fully exposed to operational environments, combat zones, high-risk logistics routes, or complex multi-aircraft missions. The margin for error is minimal. But here's something most people outside the system don't realize. This is the point where pilots are most actively involved in what they originally imagined the job to be. After this level, the amount of time you spend flying begins to decrease. Advancement depends on your ability to manage complexity. You are no longer judged only on how well you fly, but on how well you think, plan, and lead under pressure. Level 7, Senior Pilot/Squadron Officer. You are still a pilot, but that is no longer your only role. At this level, you begin to take on administrative and organizational responsibilities within your unit. You're involved in scheduling, personnel evaluations, and operational planning. You still fly, but less frequently. Your time is divided between the cockpit and the system that supports it. Pay increases to approximately $120,000 to $170,000 per year. The nature of risk changes. You are less exposed to direct operational danger, but you are now responsible for ensuring that others are prepared to face it. Your decisions affect readiness, morale, and performance across the unit. Advancement requires demonstrating that you can manage both people and operations effectively. This is where the transition begins, from pilot to officer. Level 8, Squadron Commander. You are now in charge of an entire squadron, dozens of aircraft, hundreds of personnel. Your role is no longer centered on flying. It is centered on leadership, accountability, and coordination. Your daily responsibilities include overseeing training programs, managing resources, and ensuring that your unit is operationally ready at all times. You answer to higher command, and your performance is measured by the effectiveness of your squadron. Pay typically ranges from $140,000 to $190,000 per year. Direct physical danger becomes less frequent, but the weight of responsibility increases significantly. Any failure within the squadron, whether technical, operational, or personnel related, ultimately reflects on you. Advancement from this level depends heavily on leadership performance and institutional trust. You are no longer evaluated as an individual contributor. You are evaluated as someone responsible for an entire system. Level 9, Wing Commander/Group Commander. You oversee multiple squadrons. Your perspective expands beyond individual units to broader operational structures. You are responsible for coordinating large-scale activities, allocating resources, and ensuring that multiple units function together effectively. Your decisions influence how and where aircraft are deployed. Pay typically ranges from $160,000 to $220,000 per year. At this level, flying is rare. Your role is strategic. The risks are no longer immediate or physical, but they are larger in scale. A decision made here can impact entire operations and affect large numbers of personnel. Advancement depends on your ability to think beyond individual missions and manage complex organizational systems. Level 10, Air Operations Leadership / General level. This is the highest level. You began as a pilot. Now you operate at the level of policy and strategy. You are involved in planning operations at a national or international scale. You coordinate with other branches, government agencies, and allied forces. Your decisions determine how resources are used and where risks are taken. Pay can exceed $180,000 to $250,000 or more, depending on rank and position. There is no direct physical danger, but the responsibility is broader than anything at the lower levels. You are making decisions that affect people you will never meet. At the beginning, you are trying to earn the right to fly. Every step forward feels like progress toward that goal. And for a while it is. But as you move up the hierarchy, something changes. You spend less time in the cockpit, more time managing people, more time making decisions that carry consequences beyond yourself. The system is designed this way because flying is only one part of military aviation. The rest is structure, coordination, responsibility. At the lowest levels, you are focused on proving yourself. In the middle, you are focused on performing under pressure. At the top, you are responsible for outcomes you no longer directly control. And that is the part most people never see. The higher you go, the further you move away from the thing that brought you in. What began as a desire to fly becomes a role defined by decisions, accountability, and the weight of managing risk for others. So when people think about military pilots, they imagine speed, control, and freedom. But the reality is something else entirely. It's a system. And understanding that system is the only way to understand what the role really becomes.